Hey everybody, we are back. This is Lynne Sims.
This is Prophetess elect Alina Lee.
Prophetess elect, I like that. Alina Lee, yeah, because she's being ordained on May the 15th as God's prophet, and we really are excited about that. But we're talking about tearing down the negative perceptions about submission. This is actually part 2. So many people have struggled with it. So we want to get right back to where we needed to be. In part 1, we actually read Ephesians chapter 5, verse 20. We read verses 20 through 26, I believe. But I wanted to just revisit those really quickly while we're waiting for other people to join or to come back. Verse 20 says, "At all times and for everything, giving thanks in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ to God the Father. Be subject to one another out of reverence for Christ, the Messiah, the Anointed One. Wives, be subject, be submissive, and adapt yourselves to your own husbands as a service to the Lord. For the husband is head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, himself the Savior of his body. As the church is subject to Christ, so let wives also be subject in everything to their husbands. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, so that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word, that he might present the church to himself in glorious splendor, without spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that she might be holy and faultless." Look at that. There is something to that. Hey, Ladoris, thank you for coming back. Hey, Cousin Mika, thank you for joining us. Hey, Nene, thank you for joining us. Hey, Crystal Black, thank you for joining us. Hey, and is that Devon Williams? Thank you for joining us. Or is it Devin? I don't know if it's Devon or if it's Devin. So tell me the proper way to pronounce your name so I don't mess it up. Verse 29, "For no man ever hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and carefully protects and cherishes it, as Christ loved the church, because we are members, parts of his body." I wanted to make sure that I read that in its entirety, because I don't want to leave any of that out. I want to cover some things, some negative perceptions about submission that a lot of us have, and it's kind of sad, and it's very, very frustrating, because a lot of times people think that submission is slavery. Submission, hey, she said hey to both of us.
Hi.
He says a lot of people think that submission is slavery, and that's not true. Merriam-Webster defines submission as to yield oneself to the authority or will of another, to surrender, to permit oneself to be subjected to something, to defer to, or consent to abide by the opinion or authority of another. This definition implies that a conscious decision was made to surrender themselves to the authority of another. And when you are willfully surrendering and you willfully submit, then what happens is you take away the weapons of what could be opposing or creating or birthing opposition in your relationship. So
I think that we could look at it as everyday life. We submit to our government. We don't think that we're slaves, but there's rules that we must abide before we have to deal with abide by. Until we have to deal with if we break the rules, then we'll have to deal with the consequences that come along with breaking the rules.
Right.
But no one in America feels like they're being slave. It's slavery. What we do is we operate under freedom. We are free to do this, we're free to do that.
Yes.
But there's things that we cannot do, or we need to have permission to do. And that's all that God wants us to operate under when we're dealing with our spouses. Okay, I'm free to do this without your permission, but these things I'm not free to do. We need to come to an agreement on what we're going to do.
Absolutely. See, all things are lawful, but you have to just adhere to what's expedient for you. And submission means you get your mouth completely under control. You get your spirit, your mind right. You don't have those crazy facial expressions. You don't have any of the foolishness that the enemy, you don't lose anything in the atmosphere that the enemy can use or work with. Hey, Alexis Bell, baby girl, my baby. Mwah. You don't lose anything in the atmosphere with your facial expressions, with your tone, with the words that you're saying. You don't give the enemy any tool or anything to work with, because all of those things can cause people, your husband, to think that you have a bad attitude or you're not respecting him.
And another, just another nugget out there for you to be submissive. And if you are going against what you don't believe that he's making the right decision, come up with all the facts, do the details, go and do the legwork before you come before him and say, hey, babe, I love your idea, but I don't think that this is the right approach. Here are the things that I found out about the approach that you're taking that could be obstacles where we're trying to go. So I looked through it. These are my ideas.
Right.
This is what I believe that we should do.
I suggest.
This is what I suggest we do.
Right.
And so now you're presenting what you think is out. Because I do not like for you to shoot down what I'm saying without coming up with another solution.
Right.
So now you're successfully shooting it down without hurting his ego. And you're coming up with solutions. So you're doing what God requires you to do in a tactful, respectful, humble manner.
Take the fight out of your spirit, out of your heart, out of your voice. Like, there needs to be a made up mind and a conviction on the inside of you that you're not going to fight. Your mind needs to be already made up. Hey, Bobby, thank you for joining us. Your mind needs to be made up. You're not going to fight. And that doesn't relate to just your husband. That relates to your boss at work, family members, friends, your pastor, people at your church. You have to embrace submission and put forth an extensive amount of effort to walk in it. If you're not naturally humble and meek and submissive, her demeanor, she's naturally more meek and naturally more docile. I've never been that way. I was raised around dominance and aggression, over aggression, and abuse with women. And so it's a challenge sometimes for me to maintain submission. So I have to always establish those triggers in my own spirit. When someone's raising their voice or they're being disrespectful to me, I have to train myself to say, no, you're going to be humble. You're going to submit to this authority regardless of how you feel or how this person is speaking to you or how this person is handling you, because the eyes of the Lord are in every place. And so sometimes we forget that the Father is watching us. We want to please him first. He's bragging on us. He's poking out his chest. He's saying, if I can't find one humble submitted vessel in the earth, I can choose to use my daughter Lynn or my daughter Alina at any time.
And look at it this way. You only fight your enemy.
That's
good. You only fight who you believe does not have your best interest in heart. Okay? So your husband is not your enemy. Your boss is certainly not your enemy. The people who are set to prosper you or to push you or to make you better are not your enemy.
No.
They might say things that make you, if you're uncomfortable, please believe that they're uncomfortable too.
Right.
So think about it that way. They're being uncomfortable to help motivate me, to help push me in my destiny. They're not making me uncomfortable to fight me, to make things wrong. So I think sometimes our mind, how we believe things, is what causes us to fight back.
Jesus.
We see it like, oh, okay, this person wants to see me succeed. They want to see me successful. That's why they're telling me something that makes me feel uncomfortable. That's why they're saying something. They're picking at that part of me that hurts. They're not there, your enemy. So our life experiences have trained us, because we've been hurt by people who had spite in their mind when they hurt us or when they went after us. But that does not mean that the person that's telling you right now that's in it for the long haul have anything to lose. They have more to lose to hurt you, right, than they do to not say anything, because it can make them feel good to not say nothing to you. But if it hurts them to hurt you, then you on top of that say, hey, you don't care about me. That's even more hurt. I said it because I care. I did this because I care. I want to see you go farther. I want to see you do better. And that's why I'm having this uncomfortable conversation.
It's a challenge when... It's a challenge when you're dealing with a person who's self-righteous and they're spiritually blind. When the enemy has gripped their mind, the relationship is already strained. And when the relationship is strained, we listen from offended ears. And so it's almost impossible to submit to someone that you are offended by. It's difficult and it's challenging to humble yourself before someone that you view as an enemy or a taskmaster or a user or someone who's taking advantage or preying on you in some way. And so I want you to just separate your feelings and your emotions out of your spiritual assignment. Those of you who are wives, those of you who are armor bearers, it doesn't really matter how you feel about what's being said. God could care less. He won't give two 2 flying figs. If he gives you the assignment to serve, your assignment to serve is not predicated upon the good or the bad treatment that you receive. And I need you to, the moment you separate your emotions and get self-righteousness and self-entitlement out of it, it will be so easy for you to submit. But the reason you're flip at the mouth is because you feel you have a right to be heard. And you do have a right to be heard in certain settings. But when you are the subordinate, or when you are the assistant or the helper, you're not there to be heard. You're there to assist, to accommodate, to serve, to sow, to sacrifice, to make life easy for that other person. It's difficult and it's challenging to lead someone who is mouthy and stank attitude and self-serving and self-absorbed and just focused on themselves more than the spiritual assignment. It becomes frustrating and it makes you want to walk away. If you're a leader, you want to set them down. If you're a husband, you want a divorce, because nobody wants to fight every day with someone that God gave them to help accommodate them. Remember, help meet is an helper.
Yes.
A helpmeet is an helper.
And look at it this way as well. Gather your thoughts. If you feel like you're going to say something, if you're going to explode, I tell my kids this all the time, and I tell my mom and my dad, when I'm in my feelings, I say, let me gather my thoughts. Because you don't want to say anything, you don't want to do anything that can be deemed disrespectful or rude. So gather your thoughts. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I can see how you came to that conclusion, but what I'm trying to say is this. My feelings is hurt. I don't like how you're talking to me. I don't like the tone you're using me. I've told people you make me feel stupid, and I know that that's not your intention. So what are you really trying to say? What are you really meaning? And
give them a chance to, like she said, reiterate and expound on what message they're trying to convey. But if they're conveying something else, instead of you being offended, say, it kind of comes off as if you're saying this. Is that what you're implying? Or is that what you're saying? Is that what you're intending to do? And give them a chance to say, no, this is what I'm trying to do. Because some people say, that's because you're being that way. That means that person has a deliverance need. And so that still doesn't give you the right not to submit or rebel. It doesn't give you the right to rebel or retaliate. Because God may be using you to birth deliverance in their life. Maybe their people skills suck, and God put you there to teach them. Because when you love someone who has been unkind and who's not been gentle, who's been harsh and disrespectful and rude towards you, you break and destroy that yoke over their neck. Everybody else in the past that they've been rude or harsh to has labeled them as a BIT, has separated themselves, has walked away and abandoned them. And so typically when they're responding that way, they're severely wounded and in need of love and nurturing and healing. And God may use you as an agent of change in that person's life. My baby sister, hey Sabrina, thank you.
Hey,
for joining. And so we covered on the first on part 1 that submission is not just for the wife, it's also for the husband. And that's in Ephesians chapter 5 verse 21. So because a lot of the husbands browbeat the women and they tell them the word of God says you're supposed to submit to me. Well, dude, it also says you're supposed to submit to me. But I didn't say that for you to use that as a weapon. I said that for you to understand that God is going to deal with him. He is going to have to answer to God for how he deals with you. So don't you become the law. Don't you try to enforce God's law in him. Well, God said so and so. No, don't do. You know how you feel when he uses the word as a weapon against you. So don't turn around and do evil for evil. Just show that love and have Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 is trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he'll direct your path. Trust that God's going to deal with him, just like you're plugging into my mentorship or her mentorship or whoever God is using to mentor you. God's going to send someone to mentor him. And God's going to, hey, there's your twin, Irisha, thank you.
Hey, twin!
For joining. And so don't fight. Put your fight down. Submission is a choice that requires consistency, diligence, and focus. And so another thing, submission, because a lot of a negative perception about submission is they perceive it as slavery. And that's not true. And I read a moment ago what submit means. To yield oneself to the authority or will of another, to surrender, to permit oneself to be subjected to something, to defer to or consent to abide by the opinion or authority of another. This definition implies that a conscious decision was made by someone to surrender themselves to the authority of another. Another negative thing is you think that you're foolish by submitting to your husband. But look at verses 22 through 24. Paul destroys this myth by letting women know that a woman know that she should submit to her husband as unto the Lord. By doing so, she is ministering to the world that Christ is the head of the church. Not only does she win her husband, she also wins others to Christ. Have you ever seen a person that they're always quiet? The Word of God says, study to be quiet. And so for those of you, if you know you have a mouth, and if you know that when you get irritated, you go off and you're a loose cannon, study to be quiet. Another effective way to submit is to be quiet and just do it regardless of how you feel. Those of you that are married or contemplating marriage, if you haven't gone through our premarital counseling process, and if you haven't signed up for my mentorship team or her mentorship group, then what you need to do is study 1 Peter chapter 3, the entire chapter. The first 6 verses are full of meat for married women, but study the entire chapter and allow the Word of God to wash you and condition you, because your mouth does not define who you are. In the hearts and minds of some people it does, but I speak prophetically over you. You are going to be meek. You are going to be humble. You are going to be able to submit, and you will be an help and not an hindrance. You will be an asset and not a liability. People will see your value. They will not walk away from you. They will not sit you down. They will not push you away, because you're going to make the much needed adjustments to be successful and effective in this area.
I want to add something to that, is check your spirit. If you prepare to be submissive, you will be better at it.
Right.
Esther prepared before she went before her king. And so what we need to do as women, if we get in the mindset, I'm going to dress up, this is what I'm going to say, let me get my spirit under control, let me get my mind under control, this is what I'm going to do. Just get your mind right. So when you go before him, the spirit of rage won't be on you. The spirit of getting things settled will be on you. And so any way that you can settle those things, any way that you can get it done, it's going to get done better, because now your spirit's right. You took time to prepare to go before him. And that's what I believe every woman should do.
Absolutely. Preparing means you don't get on the defensive. Typically when a man speaks to you and he says what he feels, it's typically what the deal breaker is. It's the thing that is creating a problem. If he says you act like you're the man, or you act like you have the penis, or you want to run the show, you can't be the man and the woman, you've got to humble yourself and let him know that's not my intention. Because if your heart is just to be supportive and to have his back, you have to step back and allow him to lead. Now, in doing so, he's going to drop the ball. There are going to be some mistakes. But when you allow that to happen and he sees that his way is not working, instead of you saying, I told you, you don't ever listen to me, instead of you doing that and saying, well, baby, that's okay, we're going to be fine. Here's what I suggest we do next time.
Let's
execute
plan B.
Execute plan B.
This is what I mean by that. If you have plan A and plan A failed, and you're saying, you know what, baby, I had hoped that we were going to make it. I believe that we came together. I thought this was going to make it. But plan B is right here. We can do this to recover. And so that's not telling him he's stupid. That's not telling him he's dumb. This is him. Okay, let's execute. We're not going to die here. Let's recover.
Right. He's got to know that you're on his team. You're with him and you're not against him, though. And that can't be just said. That has to be lived out. And exemplified through your behavior, what you do, and what you say. Now, another thing is a negative perception is that submission takes away your voice, and it does not take away your voice. As a matter of fact, Paul actually reinforced the voice of the woman in the Word of God in verse 20. And so a lot of times, because he said, so ought men to love their wives as their own bodies, and he that loveth his wife loveth himself. So for a man, if he ignores your voice, he's ultimately ignoring his own voice. You've got to understand that that unity is missing if you view him as separate from you. Unity is missing. So I want you to begin to pray about that. And then the second thing you've got to do, hey, Jade, thank you for joining us. The second thing you've got to do is Be mindful. Think everything through before you respond. I don't care anything that irks you or creates that tension. We know the things that rub us the wrong way or that agitate our nerves. When those things happen, set up a trigger, establish a trigger. Let those things be a trigger in your spirit to submit, to humble yourself, to flow in shut it ministry. Shut the hell up that's coming out of your mouth and allow the peace of God to flow in the atmosphere through you once the Holy Spirit is leading you. Another thing is, you need to know for sure that your husband's got to submit to you. Ephesians 5:21 said it. So don't get caught up on what it doesn't look like. Hey Shayla, thank you for joining us.
I want to talk about 1 Peter 3. 1 Peter 3 gives you the best way to be a very submissive wife.
It does.
And it teaches you how to draw your husband into you without him feeling no negative way about it, feeling any negative way. He will enjoy being in your presence. Your wise counsel will view you as a wise woman. He will listen when your mouth is moving.
Right.
He will look and anticipate. You wouldn't have to look for him. He say, baby, I got this idea. What you think of it? He will run to you. Every wife needs their husband to run to them with their ideas, because he knows that you're going to execute his ideas. He knows that you're going to do it in such a gentle, loving way.
Right.
He knows he's not going to leave feeling stupid or dumb. And,
right.
and most importantly, he knows that it's going to be finished. It's going to go through. It's going to come to pass. And every man
absolutely
wants that.
they do. You need to know your value. God said when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtains favor of the Lord. You need to know that you are the favor. You are the good thing. You are the cause of blessing being provoked on his life. And so don't allow the enemy to trick you. We're going through all of this because I mentor women. She mentors women. We are both life coaches. And it's difficult when you have to help dig up this root and the women are not on the same page with the word of God. It's impossible to win a battle long term if you don't know the strategic tools and you don't know how to use the weapons that God has given you to fight fair. Because with your husband, you're not fighting against him. You're fighting for and with him. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Submission is far more than just yes or no, some motisa. That's just only one component of it. But you've got to study the vision. You've got to thoroughly understand, get a clear understanding of what your assignment and your role is, and remain true to that. Because the word of God says when your husband is ignoring you, he's basically hindering his own prayers. And so when you know that, you don't throw it up in his face. You say, honey, here's what the word of God says, and I don't want us to be guilty of that because your prayers are my prayers. When your prayers are hindered, we are hindered as a team, as a unit, as a family. You've got to be a boss, a lady boss and a male boss. But as a lady boss, you've got to allow him to be the head. He is the chief operating officer. I mean, the chief executive officer.
Are you finished? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say that I put a post on my Facebook. The king is the most important piece, but the queen is the most powerful. That means the queen is
in chess. In the game of chess.
Yeah, in the game of chess. She has the most. She can do the most. She's the most capable.
Tell your neighbor that's me.
But that's of course me. We have to see it as the king is the most important part of the chess. Because you can lose your queen and still win the game.
That's good.
But you don't want to lose your queen because she's the most powerful part.
Yes.
In the game. And so when we're submissive, we have to see ourselves as the queen. The power is ours, but the importance is not.
And see, I want to make sure you guys understand that God did not make him for us. He made us to be an helper for him. That's why we have more power. That's why we typically have more skills. That's why we're more maternal. That's why we're more relational. And that's why it's more important to us that we talk it out and work through it than it appears to be to him. He was not created with social skills. He was not created to communicate with the woman. And so we were created to communicate with him. That's why women talk more than men. And that's how come the things that are important to us are not important to them. So a very important part of being submissive is finding out what he views as submissive. Because again, it's a custom-made, tailor-made ministry assignment. Because if he says, you know, what's your idea? Ask your husband or your future husband, what's your idea of a submitted woman? And he says, a woman who does what I ask her to do, who doesn't fight, who doesn't talk back to me, who's easy for me to talk to. Okay, you need to write those 4 things down, put those things on your prayer list, and jump them up to the top of your list of priorities, because you thought submission was cooking or cleaning. Clearly those things are benefits, but they're not high on his list of priorities. Men will tell you exactly what they need from you. All you have to do is be good at listening. Study to be quiet and become more effective at listening. Another negative perception about submission is that your husband should just pay the bills and you should cook or you should clean. I just covered that. Some men are better at dealing with the kids. Let's be honest. You're not good with changing diapers. You don't want a crying baby. You'd much rather go to an office and work for 8 or 10 hours, bring home the check and pay the bills, and let him scrub the dirty laundry and take out the trash. And if that's the case, then you've got to communicate that with him. Don't fall into society's perceptions. Because I know 1 Thessalonians 3:10 says a man who doesn't work doesn't eat. But it does not say a man who doesn't work a job outside of his home. Exactly. Managing your home and dealing with your family is a job. And so find out who within the team has which strengths and then place them in their area or their position of strength so that it will benefit the team better. I worked for years in our marriage and my husband did not work. And I was not his sugar mama. I worked, I paid the bills. He managed our home very well. I was happier then than I am now. I haven't worked a regular job in some years, but I was happier then when I worked the job because he cooked, he kept the house clean, he did the laundry. I came home to a hot bath. He rubbed my feet. You know, it was just, I couldn't wait to get home. I did nothing. I didn't hang out with my girlfriends. I didn't have girls' night out. I didn't do any of that because I couldn't wait to get home to the oasis I had at home. Some of you may have that if you stop and ask him. Stop saying he's lazy. Not all men are anointed to work a doggone job. Some men are better at, hey, Minister Lou, Carol, thank you for joining us. It's difficult to define who a man is. Allow what's on the inside of him to define to you who he is. Respect that. Honor that. Appreciate that. And allow God to use you to birth the greatness that's in him.
Now, Mr. Mom is the perfect compare. He's perfectly compared with Miss Independent. Mm-hmm. Okay, Mr. Mom. A lot of people talk bad about Mr. Mom, but I have major respect for Mr. Mom because right. I'm still considered a domesticated person, and it's hard work. It's not easy. So if you have a man that's doing that, you take your cap off and you give him mad props for it because it's going to be hard for you to do. But if you're a Mr. Mom or if you're a Miss Independent, I would target Mr. Mom because he will be able to push you and give you the places. But listen to him now. Don't lose respect for him because he's Mr. Mom. Right. Now, because you won't be able to keep such a treasure. Right. Okay. And so you treat him as a treasure. You talk to him as a treasure. You view him as a treasure because he's going to help you build your empire behind the scenes. Because most Miss Independents are CEOs. They're naturally able to go business women. Okay, so if you're a natural businesswoman, you have a man that's not so good at it, you build him up in the areas that he is good at it, make him feel like a man. And he'll be able to push that vision for you more. Absolutely. Hey, Francesca, thank you for joining us. Hey, Bianca, thank you for joining us. We have got to learn when to submit as well. Learning how to submit is one thing, but learning when to submit is a whole nother thing. Because a lot of women who are not submissive by nature know how to submit, but they're just not humble to the process and broken to the point that they're able to go ahead and submit when it's necessary. That fight that's on the inside of them, they've not taken the time to identify why it's there. And so it's difficult and it's challenging, but I want you to consider all of the relationships that it's caused you to lose, how many people you've damaged with your mouth by saying hurtful things or allowing the spirit of the enemy to rule in you and cause destruction. Mm-hmm. And so when you see that, then you become more focused on allowing the Spirit of God to use your words to build up and establish, to mend, and to minister healing. A lot of the women who are aggressive, they haven't seen the benefits of it as well. They might see other women who are being dominated. They might see men who are power drunk and they use and abuse their power, and that's a turn off. But you still have to walk under what God has given you, whether it's a turn off or not. Right. Because they're walking in and they're abusing doesn't mean the man that God has for you will abuse it, or your husband will abuse it. And most importantly, God is not going to give us a pass. Even if they do abuse the power, he's still going to expect us to be
He expects
submitted.
you to still minister. Remember, it's your opportunity to be used by God to meet a deep need in your husband. If he's harsh and he speaks to you roughly and all of those things, God has placed you in his life to birth deliverance in him. If your spiritual leaders are harsh and they're abrupt and they're brass, God has placed you in their lives to break those yokes so that they don't harm anybody coming to the ministry after you. You cannot lose focus on your assignment. Their rudeness or their weaknesses do not determine whether or not you're expected by God to submit. You've got to learn how to flow and shut it ministry. I see Nene has a question. It says, is this pertaining to Christ followers or worldly people as well? I see this in young women working but boyfriends or husbands at home chilling. It applies. I'm dealing particularly with Christian women because the Bible is the law for all. But unfortunately, most people who are not saved yet don't have a revelation that they don't get a pass because they haven't professed Christ. The principles and the laws of God are there regardless whether you receive them, whether you believe them or not. And so these principles work whether you're saved or unsaved if you apply them. Bobby says, how do you identify why the fight is there in your relationships? A lot of times you can identify why the fight is in your relationships when you take a moment to identify why the fight exists in you. When you check what's going on with you and what's promoting dysfunction in you, because typically two people get married, they're two wounded souls and they've got a lot of undiscovered or unacknowledged or hidden tender areas that they're not aware of until that spouse stumbles across that tender place. And so you've got to accept the fact that you are flawed. Romans 3:23 says, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. That includes you as well. And so accept that fact. That's the first thing. And then the second thing that you've got to do is let your spouse know what God reveals to you. I don't like being in the dark because I was violated in the dark. I don't like cleaning the bathroom because my mom used to lock me in the bathroom as a child. Or, my thing, I was traumatized with the bathroom because my biological mom used to have a gambling shack. And she had a little bucket in her bedroom because we were all girls and we were upstairs and she didn't want the men, in her mind to protect the girls. She wouldn't let the men come upstairs to where we were. So she put a bucket in her bedroom and they would go in there and urinate. Well, when men are drunk and all of that stuff, they urinate all on the floor, all on the wall. Sometimes there's number 2 in the bucket, not trying to gross anybody out. And I was assigned to clean that and empty that. And it scarred me and it traumatized me. So I shared that with my husband. So he does not make me clean our bathrooms. And so, what you've got to do is just be open to why you're dysfunctional and be transparent and allow him to be Christ the healer for you. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. God put him in your life to deliver you and to heal you, just like he put you in his life to deliver him and to heal him.
To quote someone?
Yes.
Jimmy Evans, he said, I listened to him, he's on Marriage Today. He said, you marry a healer.
You do.
And that never have left me. You're not going to go, no matter how much you prepare, you're still going to have areas where you're going to need to be healed. And no matter how much the other person prepares, they're still going to have areas where they need to be healed.
Absolutely.
And so you marry that person. If you guys go into the relationship knowing that they're going to have issues, you're going to have issues. And so I'm not going to judge you of your issues. You don't judge me of my issues.
Let's work together aggressively to minister healing to each other so that we can both
become whole.
Grow to a whole place. Now, I've had several people within the past few weeks to connect with me, and I'm thankful. I know that this helped me in these they helped me life lessons, and my mentorship is being effective, and I'm glad that, and I'm honored actually that you guys, some of you, trust me with your lives basically, and your purpose and your destiny. I want you to know I don't take it lightly, and I am focused on doing some things. I have heard for those of you in the Carolinas, California, especially Texas. I am listening. I do hear from you, Louisiana. I've not forgotten about you. I love you guys. But there's only one me. And so what I'm doing is I'm meeting once a month. with the groups, and I will come to your cities. I don't have a problem with that. I know some of you are feeling some type of way because of, you're willing to buy plane tickets and all that stuff. It's not me not wanting to come. I'm not Juanita Bynum and Paula White and all those big names. My schedule is really, really busy. It's thank God somebody knows. My schedule is really busy, yes. But I try my best to make myself available for you. And so for those of you who are desiring mentorship, I am open, but just know that I'm in the planning process because it has boomed. It sort of exploded, and I went from a very small number, under 40 women that I'm mentoring, to now it's almost 200 in just a matter of weeks. I had no idea because we didn't have big hits on this Facebook and or the YouTube, and so I didn't think it was reaching or impacting as many women as it actually is. And so I'm trying to now figure out how I can meet more than once a month, how I can incorporate those of you who are in other cities and in other states so that we can all get together with one accord. So continue to inbox me with your questions, your comments, and your concerns. Those of you who have been struggling with submission, you see, I came right on and shared this part, and there's another one, part 1, that we did. When we go over 30 minutes, I can't upload it to YouTube. I can't save it. So I'm leaving this because I want to make sure that, but you've got to tell people to like it and to share it with their friends so that more people can be exposed. And then I'm open to ideas. If you guys have ideas on how I can incorporate everybody, apart from, I'm definitely going to do FaceTime in my next mentorship meeting, and I'm definitely going to do a conference call for those of you who don't have FaceTime. But that's my resolve as of right now. We meet on the second Saturday of every month, and we typically meet around 4 o'clock, and so it's a couple hours. So just be prepared for that.
More than 2.
Right. And so I want you to be prepared. Grab your pens, grab your papers, get your girlfriends involved. We're doing some more trainings for the armor bearers in those meetings as well, because I know that we have armor bearers in other cities, other states that are reaching out to us for development as well. And we're trying to meet the needs of everybody. Understand that I don't get paid for this. I don't charge a fee for my mentorship. And so there are a couple of you who are faithful and consistent with sending in offerings or donations or whatever, and the Lord lays it on your heart. Send that to 1908 West Bush, B-U-S-C-H Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, 33612. That's 1908 West Bush Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, 33612. Attention, Lynne, L-I-N-N-E, Sims, S-I-M-S. And the reason I say send it there is because the Help Me Mentorship Group, I don't have like a separate checking account. Or you could, if you want to make a donation to our church, it's Continual Outpouring International Ministries, that same area. Now, if God lays it on your heart to sow into Ruth Boot Camp or Prophetess Elect, because she'll officially be ordained as a prophet on May the 15th, send it to the same address, but address it with her name, A-L-E-N-A-L-E-E. Because what we want to do, and I don't want anybody to feel pressured. If you don't have money or whatever, that's not why we're doing this. It's free Facebook therapy. But there are those of you who have asked, and so I realized very quickly that quite a few people don't mind sewing, and I'm thankful for that. And also, we're going to Jamaica. June the 25th, and we'll come back on July 3rd. And so if God lays it on your heart to sow into that, I created a GoFundMe account. The link is already on my page, so you can just give with your card or mail a check to the same address, but make sure that that check is payable to Continual Outpouring International Ministries, or COIM, C-O-I-M, and make sure on the memo line you write Jamaica missions trip with my name or with Prophetess Alen or my husband's name on it. Okay. Oh, whoop whoop. Okay. Can I move to Florida? I love y'all. Smooches. You can absolutely move to Florida. We have 4 bedrooms, so there is room at the inn for you. I would love it if you moved to Florida. I would love it if you moved here. It makes my life so much easier. Oh, thank you. God bless you too. Hey, Kevy Kev. Thank you for joining us. Ladies, do you see how the men are always easing in to hear what's going on with the women? And I don't blame them. And so I think we've kind of covered everything. Oh, no, there's one more. Submission makes me look weak or spineless in front of my friends. No, it does not.
Submission, though, people who think that submission looks weak and spineless, they're jealous. And so you have to call that spirit what it is, jealousy. They wish they were able to humble themselves and take their advice and move the way that you move. Be as graceful as you are. And so you don't say, oh, you're jealous of me. Just say, God called me to be this way. This is what he wants me to be.
Yes.
And I do have a terrific mentor. Would you like me to introduce you to that person? If you want to be more like me, you don't have to insult me. Right. You can just ask me what I'm doing, and I will be more than grateful to help you.
There are so many haters, and there's so much jealousy and backbiting, and that's another reason why some of us struggle with submission as women. Some of us, I'll use Francesca since she's actually on the line. For those of you who don't know her, she's very, very beautiful, very dark-skinned, beautiful, very well-groomed, very well put together. You never see her and she's not put together. And she just opened a studio, so if you need your lashes done, your makeup, your nails, your hair, she's really good with all of it. It's licensed. It is a legitimate business, Studio 13. Reach out to her on Facebook and become her friend. I'm promoting her business because her mom passed away, and she spoke to me and asked me to pour certain things into her before she passed away. And so she doesn't call me her godmom. I call her my goddaughter. And so I want to see her succeed, and I want to see her win, because so many things have been prophesied and declared over her life. But God showed me that so many women just see her and they're jealous, or they're insecure, or they're catty. And so as a woman, when you are focused on it's not that she thinks she's better than anybody else, she just doesn't settle for everyone else's standard. And I want all of you to grasp that. Don't allow another person's standard to be yours. Don't settle. If God is calling you to excel or to rise above or go the extra mile, by all means do it, because you don't know who he's called you to reach. You don't know who he's ministering to through you when it comes to your very appearance or your tone or your facial expressions. Because I think she's like not even 30 years old or something like that. She's very young. She's a business owner. She's married. She's got a baby. Commendable. I'm not bragging on you, but I am bragging on you because I love you and I'm very proud of you, woman of God. Did you have something you wanted to add before we wrapped it up?
No, I said no, but I mean yes. I think that when you walk down the path of submission, don't worry about how other people feel about your decision you made before God.
Right.
Do what God is calling you to do, and you will reap the harvest of the benefits of his labor that you put before him.
Have people around you that are going to help you be accountable. So when you're not behaving submissively, have that person that says, now you know that God is calling you to another level of submission. So you can apologize when you need to. You can make the adjustments when you need to, when it's necessary. And not haters and not people that are going to tease you or rag on you. Have people that are focused. They're spiritually mature. They can discern what God is doing in you. God is breaking you for a reason. It's not a coincidence that you are plugged into this. It's not an accident. And so I want to say to you guys, if you desire to be mentored, you need help in this area, we are both available. My ministry is geared more towards preparing you for the ministry of marriage, birthing business ideas, helping you to pursue your dreams as a whole. Her ministry is geared more towards teaching you how to be a submissive servant, humble, managing negative or harsh or difficult personalities. You talk a little bit. Hey, Prophetess Margaret, God bless you, my twin.
It's ordained of God to help a woman be able to endure tough times, and with a graceful spirit. Right. She will be able to meet her husband, but she will already be operating under a submissive, humble spirit. And
when she meets him.
Yeah, when she meets him, and she will be able to motivate and push his vision.
Yes.
She will be able to submit to authority leadership. She will be able to do that effectively as well.
And so your boot camp, she has a boot camp. Ruth boot camp. And how many weeks is it?
Ruth boot camp is 6 weeks long.
When does it start?
It starts in August, but August the 16th.
No, September 16th is what I had on my book. So you changed it to August?
Okay, it's
probably. I know you were. So I know you were talking about August at first, but let me just say this, you guys. I'm preaching in Bishopville, South Carolina, May 19th and 20th at Now Faith. And then I'm going to, Charleston, South Carolina, August the 20th and the 21st.
We moved it. I'm sorry, you guys. We moved it to September.
We've got the Single by Default conference in Tampa. That's July, I think, 12th through the 14th.
It's a lot.
We have, I know, in June we have, and then we have our mother-daughter conference in August. That is the 25th through the 27th.
Then we have we have a women's conference that just booked. No, it's the youth conference in June, right?
Right. And then we have our convocation week, May the 9th through the 15th, and then my husband is being affirmed as an apostle on the 15th. On the 30th of this month, which is next Wednesday, actually, not this Wednesday, we're doing a birthday celebration service for my husband. He didn't want to party. He wanted to praise God, so we're doing that. All of you guys are invited. It's going to be held at our church, 1908 West Bush Boulevard in Tampa.
Now, I would like everyone to come out to my singles conference. That's coming up.
That's April 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Yeah, so that conference is going to be $15.
Catapulted into destiny.
Yes, for the men, the singles male. We have single men of God that's going to be able to answer your guys' questions. It's only $15. It's a luncheon at 1 o'clock. And so it's called Catapulted into Destiny. So from the 28th to the 30th, I believe that God is going to move mightily. And I want everyone to come, especially if you're unmarried, because it's going to be able to help you deal with those issues that most single people or married people don't have to deal with no more.
Well, I want to just, pardon me for cutting you off, but I want to just tell you guys, my favorite part of her conference, when she laid out her itinerary to me, is on the 30th, she's doing a luncheon. That's pretty much what the $15 is for. And she's got all single, unmarried, fivefold ministry men of God on the panel who will be answering questions as what do they like, what are they drawn to, what are they attracted to in a wife, what turns them off, and how do they know quickly that a woman's not wife material. So if you are unmarried, I strongly suggest that you get yourself here for that. And her Ruth Boot Camp information, she will create a link, because no link has been created yet. She will create a link, and yes, you will be able. And no, it is not free. The Ruth Boot Camp is $300.
Yes,
it's $300. You can do a $50 deposit and get yourself RSVP. It's very simple. It's like what, 6 weeks or 8 weeks?
6 weeks.
It's 6 weeks. She gives you materials. She gives you a workbook, a war outfit she created, or
the war outfit is extra. Okay, so what you're gonna get is the work. You're gonna get the materials and then you're gonna get food.
Okay, and I want to say this also. Oh wait, there's another one. Nini reads, Francesca, these are always my words at my church. Unity and accountability. Oh yeah, because Francesca did say that accountability is everything. You've got to partner and connect with somebody to be successful with submission. I've gotten so much better. I've separated myself from so many toxic people or people who
are jealous. Let's just call it what it is. Jealousy.
Okay. But just women who are catty, who thought negatively or spoke negatively or were not willing to invest in the relationship what I was investing in a relationship. And I strongly suggest that you do the same. The world is full of amazing people that think you're amazing, but you can't continue to maintain the connection with negative people who don't see your value. Open yourself up to new connections, new friends, new relationships, and new arenas. Try something different. Learn something new. If you've never played shuffleboard, I don't know, learn how to ski, find develop new hobbies and meet new people, move in new circles. Like I'm talking about that with my empowerment. Well, it's not my empowerment luncheon, but it's an empowerment luncheon that I'm going to be sharing at. Move the power of moving in a new pattern. Change your pattern. When you become repetitive and redundant, the enemy can overtake you. He knows that if a person disrespects you, that's going to provoke you to curse them out. He knows that if you get cut off in traffic, you're going to start cursing. He knows that if your child smacks their teeth or whatever and gets disrespectful, you may smack the crap out of your child. And so he knows what your triggers are because you've been repetitive and redundant. Throw a monkey wrench in the game and do something different. Move in a different circle. Move in a different arena. Step out of your comfort zone. Right. Absolutely. And so do we have any more questions before we go or we log off? Don't forget my husband's birthday, March 30th. Those that live locally, don't forget that I forgot, on Wednesdays, if you need help with prayer and intercession, Prophetess Lena, she trains intercessors at our church on Wednesday night. She has a class, and it's from 7 to like 7:45 or 8. It's
7
only
to 8.
It's not even an hour. Yeah, it's about an hour long. And so if you're a babe and you're desired, you know the God's calling to it, or if you're a prophet and you know that your prayer life needs to go to another level, then this class is perfect. She's got a bunch of I call them baby intercessors. So this,
Yes.
she's teaching them how to overcome that shyness and how to walk in boldness. Let's see. Oh, love y'all. God bless y'all. Thank you. We love you too. And that's free. So if you want to come, that's open. Any other questions? For booking information for me, because I'm doing this basically sitting here at my dinner table, but when I preach and I teach, I've got a ton of stuff on YouTube and a ton of videos on the Marriage Mechanics page, and because I want you to get it, and you don't have to have money to get the deliverance that you need. If God lays it on your heart and you get blessed, then by all means sow a seed. But I'm going to continue to do what I can to the best of my ability, as long as the Lord allows.
Amen.
Me, because now what's happening is I'm traveling to places and
Transition.
yeah, I'm transitioning, so there are some financial needs arising and obligations that are presenting themselves, and so I'm not asking you guys. The only thing I did ask everybody to support is the Jamaica missions trip, because we need a little over $10,000 to take the team, and we don't look for you guys to pay it all. But if you could send $100 or $50 or even $20, whatever it is that you can do, pull out your debit card right now, go to my page, click on my GoFundMe, and contribute something if the Lord lays it on your heart. Lord, help us all be humble. Please call me. We're trying to come down there. Okay, I will definitely call you as soon as... Well, actually, you call me in 10 minutes, because we're about to wrap this up. So you pick up the phone and you call me. That way, I know you're ready, because I get frustrated when I call you guys and you don't answer after you tell me to call you. No shade, but shade. Okay, so since we don't have any more questions, I think I got all the announcement stuff out of there, because I wasn't doing these announcements, but I realized some of you don't know what's going on, and I've gotten 3 invitations this week. They're wanting us to come to different events because they don't know what's going on with our calendar. And so what I'm going to do is get with LaQuina and ask her to post the calendar on the Help Me page, so you guys will always know kind of where I'm at, what city I'm in, what I'm doing, and all that stuff. I never had to do that before. I'm not all big and famous and all that stuff, so this is kind of, okay, so this is kind of new to me. So just work with me and allow us to go through this transition and allow us to stabilize a lot of this growth, if that makes any sense. Let's see. I have to give a love offering. Send the info. You really worked on me. Amen. Praise God. Have a good night, you all. Okay. You too. Let's see. I need the boot camp info, please. Okay. Amen. All right. Thank you guys so much for your feedback. I'm gonna give you what you need to do the love offering. And since you don't want to mail the check, I'm actually, because since you're my sister, I'm just gonna go ahead and give you my checking account number, and you can just go to the bank tomorrow and deposit it. Or I can do a PayPal and hit your debit card, because I know you're a big baller. All right, we love you guys. Hey, twin. Oh, your queens look beautiful. Thank you.
She said twin. Which twin was that? Because you got one.
Your twin.
She said, twin.
Let's see. We will definitely work with you and keep you in prayer. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for working with us. We want to get some teams established all across the country to help us support our Jamaica missions. We need more than just money. We're taking the medicine, glasses, feminine hygiene products, clothes, food, everything that you think they need. We're doing leadership trainings. We're doing conferences. We're preaching and teaching night and day. We're doing banquets with them. We're going to orphanages and infirmaries. We're going to be there for 8 days in this ministry almost the whole time. We got one rest day. There's no full AC. So I will not be wigging it out. I will be braiding it down. So if braid ministry is your anointing,
I'm wondering if I
me.
should be natural, because
I don't think you should wear your natural hair. I think you should braid it.
Yeah.
The humidity. All right, now we're just kind of chatting.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for your support. And I did hear you guys that want us to come. Dallas, I've not forgotten about you. It's just my schedule is really crazy.
You guys just don't know it. It happened overnight, it feels like.
I don't know another way to say it. I went from...
She's trying to just balance out the pool. And so once she balances out the pool, she'll be able to pull it together. But just bear with her a little bit, you guys, because she's really trying to balance it out. It's a lot that has happened to her over
almost overnight,
a month or whatever.
Yeah, these past 2 or 3 weeks.
It's
just
big.
in the month of March. So
Yes.
however many days we are in the March, it all happened like
really fast.
Apostle, what's his name? Stanford Young. He prophesied 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he came to our church and he said, I see suddenlies, many suddenlies. Suddenly things are going to explode. Suddenly there's going to be this and suddenly. And he went through all of that and we received it. But I didn't know that suddenly was going to happen like this. Because
Yes.
like this is...
It's really sudden.
It's really sudden.
And an average person wouldn't just be able to just jump into a balance. She has to catch that flow. So I'm really apologizing on her behalf for you guys. She's not ignoring you. I live with this woman. I see how hard she's working to try to pull things together for you guys. And so just be a little more patient there with her.
I am coming to your city, to your state.
And she's going to
promise.
She's going to come through for you guys. She has not lied. But she's just trying to see how she's going to pull it together. That's it.
Because everybody came into my life when my calendar
So
was
fast.
already full. And it came so quick, like daily. 2 and 3 and 4 people are being added daily.
And they're trying to see what day she's not there. And so, some people want her to go for 2 or 3 days. And honestly, she don't have 2 or 3 consecutive days where she can.
I only have one right now.
She's just trying so hard, you guys.
Yes.
I know she is.
I am. And I'm not overwhelmed in a sense of not being up to the challenge. I'm overwhelmed with it was prophesied to me, but I made the mistake of not being prepared
Exactly.
for the influx. And so I want to teach you guys how not to do that. Once I get through it and I actually have a balance, I will share. Let's see. I'm so happy for you. My mom would be proud. Oh, don't make me cry. Don't make me cry, because I always say that because your dad says to me that no other woman walking around here has more of your mom's spirit than me and more of her wisdom, when he sees the marriage mechanics. So it's everything. 90% of what I know as far as marriage and being a wife and all that stuff, I attribute it to Shakita Drayden pouring into me and teaching me, because I was not receptive. I was a diamond in the rough. And so... Hey,
rough,
Anthony,
way down.
unfortunately,
Very
you
rough.
joined at the end, so we're about to get off of this, but you can actually, it's going to load up to my Facebook in like 2.2 minutes, and you can actually go back from the beginning and watch everything that we did teach. There are 2 parts to it, but we are really excited about what God is doing. We're excited about the growth. I'm sad that all of them almost are in other cities and other states, because if they were here, they could come to the church with us, and, we could grow as a family in that way, but I love you anyway. You're still my babies, and God is doing it. He's downloading. Now my mind is racing because he's speaking to me about all of you, and I'm excited about that, because that was my concern. I didn't want to I see these people with mentorship ministries and they're not really mentoring or pouring what's needed. And so thank God he's giving me what you guys need. And I'm excited. So now I just got to get everybody together, because most of you are on different timelines. Those of you in California, you're 4 or 5 hours behind us. And those in the Carolinas, everybody's in different time frames. But I don't know all the answers yet. I'm telling you, and I have not had a chance to meet with my mentor, but it's going to come together and
about to go
down. All right. Having said that, we love you guys, and deuces. We're out.